Good morning. Good morning. My name is Louis Figueroa, and I am an addict, member of Narcotics Anonymous, long-term member of Public Information, what we're calling Public Relations Subcommittee. I'd like to start out saying welcome to everybody. Glad to see everybody, at least by names, because I see the list of the names. And I'd like to thank the Manhattan area Public Information, Public Relations Subcommittee for the invitation. You know, while we myself and my counterparts, Bronx area Public Relations Committees, when we looked at this topic, you know, and we looked at PR basics and we discussed and we strategized and we looked at it from various angles after we had a discussion, rather lengthy discussion. One of a couple that we've been having ongoing last week or so. I push back a minute. Sometimes I have to step away from something to get another look at it, another angle, or look at it from a different angle. And I looked at the PR basics. Thank you, that thing right there. Looked at PR basics and I said to myself, what are the basics of public relations? Well, we know that public relations, and I have to do this in 5 minutes or so. Public relations is a branch of service and a subcommittee, which is a service unit of our Narcotics Anonymous service structure, whose responsibility it is to foster, maintain relationships both internal in our fellowship and relationships outside the fellowship, so that those who come in contact with addicts can know what Narcotics Anonymous is, where we can be found, and what we have to offer. And that's the basics of public relations. You know, looking at it from its most simplistic terms. You know, I looked at that same thing, and PR Basics is basically a booklet. What we're discussing is a booklet, and this booklet came from a larger book, and it came from an older, predated book that we used in our fellowship for many years, something called the PI Guide. We used to call it the PIG back in the days. PI Guide, PIG for short. And PI Guide is a slim service manual that gave us the basics of what PI is. We used to call it PI back in the days, public information. We transitioned in a lot of places to referring to this as PR. But basically, how to do PR, right? PI is about informing the public. PR is fostering and maintaining relationships. And it gave us the basics on what PI PIG Guide is, how to conduct it, how we overlap and interact with other service committees in order to accomplish the work that we've been entrusted to do by our various groups and our responsibilities to the NA service structure and of course the NA organization itself, even though we ought never be organized, right? So the PIG was a little deficient. It was something that was created in our developing days. It had the basics. It touched on a lot of things, but there were areas where it hadn't touched yet because the nature of our very growing fellowship and PIPR work, service work, is a type of committee that grows just like our fellowship grows. And I've often heard it said that PIPR are the eyes and ears of the fellowship because of the unique position we hold within the service structure by interfacing and interacting with the public. So over time, what had happened was we outgrew or we had more needs for, or we had needs for a bigger service manual. And so therefore, the idea to update the PIPR book, PI PIG, was created, and that was a process. And out of that came another book after hemming and hawing and a lot of other stuff, which became the Public Relations Handbook, which is a bigger book. Very good book, if I do say so myself, as far as the service manual. Out of that came the PR Basics. So we looked at the PR Basics, which was passed in 2010 by the World Board. It looks like a magazine, and in it, very nice looking book, a magazine or booklet. Right in it, it has the basics. It has a lot of nice slides, nice pictures in it. And it generally is not as intimidating as big and bulky, more user friendly as the actual PR Basics handbook, I'm sorry, PR handbook itself. Bear with me, little nervous. And funny thing, when I saw it, I fell in love because I love public information, public relations service, and it covers a lot of groundwork, and it covers things that, as at our subcommittee, we're able to share. We are a small subcommittee, you know, we're able to share stuff from within this PR Basics booklet, which covers the basics. It's user friendly, and it's not as I guess bulky and intimidating, and it's easier, I guess, to relate to. But because I'm a studious type of dude, I prefer. I'm not intimidated by the bigger service manual, but I've always had a thing. Funny thing, after the PR Basics was created, it opened up the door to create H&I Basics, which is of course a different service committee because they have a different role than we do here in the PR committee, but should always work together because there are areas where we will need to cooperate and foster relationships. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to, I guess, Adam or Felix or Lenny. Thank you for allowing me to be of service.
Thank you, Louis. Okay, Felix or Adam.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Hi, family. My name is Felix. We do work in the Bronx in many ways, but the primary work that we do is when anybody makes a request because they would like some information about public relations, what we will return their their request, and depending who it is, we will answer the question and give them some information about what PR Basics is. And what we do in PR Basics is we form relationships with depending on who it is. We make presentations to professionals, to medical staff, educational staff, community organizations, health fairs, mental health organizations, whoever requests information from us. And the other day we had a presentation, and there were professionals in the field of drug addiction, and because they requested information from us, we went over there, and it was very funny because the guys were saying about, I am so and so, and I'm the director of this fellowship of this organization, and then the guy said, and I sell oranges in the corner, and that's because some of the addicts in that corner or in the neighborhood, they sell oranges. So everybody started laughing, and it's good. So that's the way we form relationships. And what we do also, we distribute posters, we do PSAs, we participate in health fairs, community activities, and we let them know that we are available, that we are a free resource to the community, and that we're there to help them. And that's basically it. I mean, we also get in contact with or support H&I and the web department, but not departments of divisions of the organization, because again we are about maintaining communication with the public, and nowadays is everything is electronic. So usually we have to use the web department for it to distribute more than the newspaper that we had. That was another way of communicating with the public. So now we do it through the web department. Sorry, I keep saying department, section of the organization of public information, because there's many within the fellowship, and the H&I section also of public relations. So we work in conjunction to give information to whoever requests information, whoever makes the request information, and we also try to in workshops like this one to educate our members of the fellowship so they could know what public relations is, because a lot of them don't even know how it was that they came around to know about about the NA program. the NA Fellowship. And it's satisfaction, because whenever we help develop a meeting, and the meeting flourishes and becomes a big meeting, it makes me feel good. Because I know I'm doing my job, that I brought the information to the public, that they got together, that they started a new group, and that group is another location where other addicts could come and find recovery, exercise the program, so they could stay clean. You know, public relations is my life. I've been there since the beginning. When I asked my sponsor, like, what is this program all about? And he said, I want you to go here so you could learn. And I've been here ever since, you know, learning and staying clean, you know. Like we say in the Bronx, if you practice the program and you do service, you stay clean. And I think I'm proof of that. Oh, I don't have to prove it to anybody. I prove it to myself that it works. You know, again, sorry that I repeat myself too much. What we do is post the drive PSAs. We do post the drives. We do PSAs. We do community presentations and information to anybody who wants the information, and also to give information to the fellowship. And now I could give you Adam, if he wants to, for the next section of the presentation, of this
Thank you,
presentation.
Felix.
You're welcome, my dear.
Thank you, Felix. I want to thank, hi, my name is Adam, and I'm the Bronx Area Vice Chair for Public Relations. I want to thank everybody for being here, man. I'm excited, man. This is something phenomenal right now. You understand what I'm saying? You know, I would never get a chance or opportunity to see any of you guys, you know, if it wasn't for the pandemic. You know, through the adversity, there is a light. You understand what I'm saying? So my topic is going to be for public relations is practicing, right? The spiritual principle of PR in action, right? When I first got here to attract members, right? I was the only person, so I was amazed, man, when I heard my man in Hong Kong talking about, you know, the trouble he's having in his persistent on continuing to do what he does, right? The spiritual principle of PR in action. The principle we learn through working the steps and applying the concepts and tradition to our personal lives and service efforts are carried into our relationship with people and organization outside NA. When I came here, I was not a PR guy. They told me to get a commitment, and I got a commitment. I would go in, get the paperwork and leave. Go in, get the paperwork and leave, right? At some point, man, I decided to actually do something because they were doing traditions and concept. And my sponsor was only able to give me the step work, right? So I was able to incorporate this at public relations, and that would hook me. That hooked me immediately. They were doing traditions and concept, right? So now I have to learn how to practice it, right? So check it out. Show mutual respect is one of our valuable things that we have in public relations. Making people feel welcome, excited, right? Exciting to be here, right? Mutual respect. We share information with outside groups, community organizations about NA's program of recovery and our traditions in the efforts to create a more successful interaction.
Oh, Adam, your audio went off.
Any organization that we dealing with as far as working with, communicating and staying in cooperation with them, we find out about that organization before we even go in and actually do a presentation here in the Bronx, right? Okay, being trustworthy. We operate under the guidelines. Check it out. We operate under the guidelines set forth in our traditions and concept, with the constant goal of carrying the message to the addict who still suffers. With this in mind, we are able to act with integrity and honesty that allow our partners in the community to rely on our clear, consistent message and reliable actions. That's what we do, right? So when we go and do that, informing the community, and they call us for a presentation and we're unable to actually fulfill that commitment, we reach out to another subcommittee in another area to help us carry out the presentation publicly. Many of us, right? I'm not on that slide.
Sorry.
Yo, I'm not on that slide, but that's okay, Wellview. I'm on the spiritual principle of what we do as far as stay together and what we do in the spiritual principle, mutual respect, trustworthy. I was on that, and to be flexible, right? We may need the organization we are working with to respond to our needs with flexibility, and we can work to do the same. We take care to listen to their requests while keeping in mind our underlying principle. Consider whether or not we can accommodate them. In some case, we may want to reach out to a larger NA service body to help us fulfill our requests. There were times some in Queens area, they called and we had to assist them. It's not about crossing any barriers. Under the under NA, we are all affiliated, you know what I mean? We help each other. That's the main thing. And to be consistent in providing service to the larger community. We strive to provide accurate information and facilitate ongoing dialogues. We, when other organizations know they can count on us, we are in a better position to carry the message in a message over an extended period of time to addicts seeking recovery. Yo, that's what we do, and most of the time I'm so excited. We do the billboards, the drug. I remember one Christmas we did the subways in New York. We did the PSAs, right? We go to the police department, leave NA flyers. There's a lot of stuff that we do that we don't, really, behind the scene kind of stuff. And I like being behind the scene. I get more fun just seeing, somebody staying clean another day, you know what I mean, getting involved in service. And especially when they get involved with public relations. And how we reach out to other groups. I go to the groups individually and let them see who they're dealing with and who's getting involved with the public relations. And that's how you get people to get involved, especially when you make it seem exciting.
All right,
Listen,
now, Adam, listen, you guys have about 6 minutes for questions. So I
okay.
want to make sure if people have any questions for Bronx PR, the topic of PR basics. Go ahead, Lucille.
My name is Lucille, and I'm an addict from the Greater Plainfield area. Thank you, everyone, for being here this morning. Good morning, Wilvina. Pray everybody is well. Can I get that ID, a number again, Adam? I tried to write it, but I don't see it in the chat, because I would like to connect with other public relations committees and see how their area work as well, because we meet the third Sunday, the second Thursday of the month. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. I appreciate that.
You got it.
833-757-04883.
Yeah, I would encourage anybody to take a picture of the screen. It makes it also a lot easier,
Mhm.
For
Y'all
the
come down
information.
anytime.
But also put it in the chat as well, Adam, if you could do that. Now, I also know Carmen could not raise her hand. She has a question for Bronx PR as well.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Again, good morning to those of you who have just joined us. Thank you again for all of your service. So I'm Carmen, and I am the PR chair from Chicago. And I have a question, because we are in a unique situation now when it comes to going back into in-person meetings. And I want to know, what role do you guys play, or do you see yourself playing in helping our members reopen their meetings for in-person meetings, and when it comes to getting new facilities, because some facilities may not let those meetings go back into the same facilities that they were in previously to the pandemic. So what role does your because I'm getting a little pushback from my area, just put it like that, because I'm being told that those meetings are independent meetings and that we should not be putting ourselves into that situation, just allowing those meetings to find their own new facilities. So I just want to know, from your perspective, or for what you guys are doing, from your experience rather, what are you guys' role in that in your area? Thank you.
Yeah, hi Carmen, thank you. Wow, funny thing, your question is wonderful, and one of the things that we're seeing here in the Bronx is that we haven't fully opened yet. We still are virtual. However, there are groups that we're meeting outside, and we're doing social distancing, and we're adhering to the guidelines that are being handed to us. Up in sorry, Maine, New England region, they were, and also NORS, they were one of the greatest things they've given us, or they've put out there, is a point plan in which how to reopen safely. Again, the funny thing about the PR committee, and my experience with this has been our greatest power that we have as a PR committee is to maintain communication with the fellowship. What we've done in the past, when we've had a lot of situations where we've had to address groups, is that we've addressed the area service body, and we've gone out in PR teams to various groups and do conferences, workshops, learning days with a lot of Q&A, letting the fellowship know what's the basic role of the PR committee, how we can serve them, how we can help them, and inform them. You see, it's a funny thing. The PR committee, I don't want to ramble, the PR committee in the Bronx has always been a small committee, but we stick together. And one of the things that I have seen is that it's sad. When I came around after 90 days, you got involved with service and you went to a service body. I happened to fall in the PR because I saw the pamphlet. I thought it was something else. I thought it was something else. And when I went to the subcommittee, it was like standing room only. And what we did was a lot of mock presentations, role playing, strategizing. We responded to requests from the local fellowship, from the autonomous groups. And the sad thing about it is that some members, due to the growth of our fellowship, they're really not aware of the role that the PR committee has. So I guess the most important thing to do is, like we always say in PR, PIPR, is inform the public and educate the fellowship. So educating the fellowship will be wonderful. Having your toolkit at hand will be wonderful. Being able to answer the questions of the fellowship will be wonderful. Being of service and offering help will be wonderful, because one thing we know is that some people think that, and this is commonplace in our fellowship for those that are not really familiar with the PIPR committee and service body, is that groups are autonomous, and that's it. But if you look at the fourth tradition and the 10th tradition, it doesn't say that. It says groups should be autonomous. And there are like 8 areas where groups are not autonomous. One of the areas in which groups are not autonomous is their connection with the fellowship, how their actions affect the other groups in NA as a whole. And also, if we think that our actions do not affect others, we're sadly mistaken, both on an individual level and of course, on the fellowship level. So informing the fellowship, flooding the fellowship with information, being fully armed with the tools, being there to answer their questions, being of service, being available, giving the information. Because a lot of times what addicts suffer from is I'm going to say, criticism and judgment through lack of information. So that's one of the basic things that have helped us when we've had issues within our various groups. Thank you.
Thanks so much,
Thank
Louis.
you so much. That was
I'm
informative.
sorry, and then we meet the last Sunday of the month, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. The information will be in the chat. If you're welcome, anyone is more than willing and welcome to join us. Thank you.
Yeah, everybody from Bronx PR, please put your contact information in the chat. We do have 2 other questions. I'm going to take those questions and then we're going to go to the next segment. Anthony.
Addict named Tony. Hey, Sebastian. 2-part question. So in the public information guide, there used to be sample press releases. Does the Bronx area ever help the groups put out a press release to say, oh, Just for Today group meets on such a day at such a time. If you think you have a drug problem, need some help, this is the address and time. Secondly, does the Bronx area employ a, say, public information Facebook page to put out meeting times, website information, or Just for Today quotes?
Hello. Thank you, Anthony. Wonderful question. Okay, basically, what we generally used to do when we were brick and mortar is that we have various tools that help us. We try to maintain our meeting list information internally within the fellowship. We've done a PSA campaign years ago, but we haven't reached or really been that visible outside the fellowship, other than our helpline. Greater New York region has a helpline which uses call forwarding, which has been excellent for them, so that members can receive a phone call from inside or outside the fellowship seeking information and meeting information, and of course, how to contact the fellowship and how to get involved with the local fellowship. That's one way we do it. Another way we do it is that we maintain a website, and our website, our area website, is linked to the Greater New York regional website, which has, of course, meeting information and events and things like that. But we haven't done press releases too many to newspapers or local newspapers outside the fellowship too much because of, well, the way Bronx area, the way the Bronx, and because we're in the middle of New York City, or a little further north than the middle, but I'll say like that. We're a very densely populated, let me say, community and city and borough, for lack of a better term. Hope that helps.
Thanks, Louis. All right, Lucille, quick question so we could stay on target for our next segment.
I didn't raise my hand.
Oh, okay.
That's okay. Thank you. Let me put it down. I apologize.
Okay. All right. Also, Nancy G from Arizona put in the chat that they put PSA,